MVP. I'm going to wait until we hit that 20-second spot to finalize what the roster is going to be. I'm still expecting to support Zilean, but you never really know if it's going to go into the mid lane.
You're right. It could, on an outside chance, be the Malzahar. But what we're really seeing here, Achilleos, is push, push, push from MVP and invade from the Nidalee. They do have lane priority in basically every lane, apart from mid lane, and post 6 maybe they can make something happen there. So very much they're looking to push. If it is support Zilean, then it's going to be Varus and Zilean pushing lane and forcing the Kog'Maw under turret, eating damage. Tahm Kench, if he's under his turret, doesn't provide anything other than staving away a turret dive. So it's very much going to be relentless pressure from MVP. But every time we see pressure draft, we know that you make a couple of mistakes on turret dives, you die in situations you shouldn't, the control wards go down defensively, and then teamfight outscales 9 times out of 10. Let's see if ADD, who did not make us a believer on his Ornn, can actually take it to the Ornn this time as he's on the Vlad.
Going to be an interesting matchup there. Probably a bit of a slow one early on. Hopefully we can stray away from that top lane. We kind of have the reversal of last time you and I were casting together, where we kind of do want to watch that bottom lane with the Zilean in the mix. Stay away from top again, as it's just going to be that wet noodle fight coming through.
KT, simple draft, straightforward one, but they are a bit on the defensive, Achilleos. Not always comfort for KT Rolster. Let's see how they handle it.
All right, well, 1 game up is KT. MVP looking to tie the score, take us to a game 3 in this uphill battle. Let's see if they can do it as we jump onto the rift for game number 2.
환영합니다.
MVP fans still holding on tight, trying to encourage the players here to have a game-winning performance with their voices. Infernal Drake going to start us off yet again, twice in a row, so looking pretty lucky here for us as the viewers.
I do believe, Achilleos, we have our first of the season 5 stopwatch team on blue side from MVP.
Oh boy, I can't wait.
The coach clearly told them, hey, inspiration's pretty good. Get some free stopwatches, and they listened, so, all right, catching up to the metas.
Rolster fighting there as they are indeed fighting. Pawn going to take that spear to the face as he just tries to get a bit of damage in onto Ian, but no one going to be using any summoner spells.
7 stopwatches overall. We're back on track, Achilleos, after a wayward game 1 for stopwatch front.
It was nice while it lasted, you know.
Don't expect anything. I assume patch 8.2 will see some changes with the removal of the quest shield, but maybe everyone will have wards, so that'll be weird. We'll see what people decide on that one.
We can get a visual indicator over everyone's head when they have a stopwatch, just for us in the spectator client. So I know, like, oh, they're going low. They're going to get the kill. Okay, never mind. There's a stopwatch. That would be nice.
Can't see how the Ornn matchup went in the previous game, and Smab did a lot of damage, and ADD did not, because that's just how you roll as the Ornn versus the Gnar. But this time we're seeing Smab on the other side. He's gone for Unsealed Spellbook, because he's against a ranged matchup. We never see him against melee matchups apart from Gangplank, so you never get to see something like the Grasp of the Undying. We have the Keystones up there. Many Unsealed Spellbooks on the side of MVP. Predictable.
A lot of harass there from Pawn, just trying to chunk out Ian where he can, force him to go through those potions. Well, he does have that more difficult start here. For
interesting numbers here, because I just cut you off. 75 wards placed to 29 between Jarvan and Siobhan. Now, Siobhan didn't have a lot of control of the map, especially as the game went on, so you could imagine was just kind of putting down a control ward and hoping for the best when it came to a play, but certainly big number differences there. When you are on the Azir side, you're expected to take the aggressor role, so your DPM always going to be high as Azir at the worst of times, but in this matchup, very simple.
Maybe he was highest in the last game.
42.5%.
Just a bit behind him, so
it's a big damage share too.
Quite a lot. Fortunately, though, you know, just Ian wasn't able to get those really impactful stream of shuffles every time he would go in for it. What do you know? A stopwatch was there to deny it.
It's 2018 meta, Achilleos. We gotta sit back and relax and appreciate stopwatch overlords. We should definitely be sponsored by Rolex or something this season.
That would be great. What is this, the LPL, Papa?
That's true.
We don't get those extravagant sponsors.
We got
like,
really nice chicken.
was it Mercedes and everything like that?
We got BBQ, baby.
We do have BBQ. You know, I would much rather have BBQ than a Rolex.
A lot of the fans might not know, but BBQ does stand for best of the best quality. Well, actually a reference to barbecue, which is what, of course, most Western people would assume at first glance. Max does not have Relic Shield, so triple Relic Shield bot lane.
We're still breaking the meta.
I mean,
in some ways here.
He's on Zillion, doesn't have a lot of AD, so he would have a very hard time with the Relic Shield.
Getting the procs. Try to time the bombs. Be a bit of a rough one.
I thought maybe Smeb was going to counter the entire enemy team and build an all-match mantle, but that's a later purchase.
Not yet. We'll see that in the future here, I'm sure. Ian is still having a very rough time against Pawn.
Yeah, Pawn is actually getting a lot more damage onto Ian early than we saw in the reverse matchup. Oh, the Comet almost kills him.
Yeah, almost takes him down.
That would have been embarrassing.
Sub 20 HP.
He definitely wouldn't have healed in time, so that would have been very embarrassing.
I mean, he didn't even heal right there, and there's no way that he calculated it.
Score coming in.
Yeah, he's going to go in, comes over the wall. Just going to take it away with the flail. Thank you very much for the prep.
Or decide to go heavy into the resolve tree. Does not go for the precision footwork that we saw from Umti 2 days ago.
Gotcha.
I mean, he's battle warning. This is what he has to do. What did we say about the draft from MVP? If it's a 5v5 team fight, they basically auto-lose. So what they need to do is take the pushing lanes they have and battle ward with Beyond. And this failed for Beyond. This failed for Peanut. That's what's being attempted here. As Beyond is another one of our resident Nidalee players next to Peanut and also Spirit.
Just took away one of those small wolves. Instead of that, not a whole lot. Finds a control ward. So we can go ahead and clean that one up. Trying to keep playing as far up into the face of score as he possibly can. Keep tabs on that Sejuani, make sure that she can't impact the other lanes here. So far, we haven't really seen any ganks at all. It's just been all about rotating around the jungle for both of these guys.
Absolutely, and if you want to play that top lane Vladimir, firstly, shame on you. It's really annoying to play against, but do start with the Spell Thieves, and first item buy, you kind of want to back and just straight up buy the Frost Queen's Claim and teleport back to lane, so you no longer have the minion penalty on the quest, to start building up the quest, which is so important. Locks the spear there to try to get the Grom.
Yep, goes ahead, gets it with the smite. Gets a little blast cone over the wall, and he's got that fruit waiting there in the river for him, so score is going to be right back in the tip-top shape. So smooth stuff from him, not losing his cool, holds onto the flash through it all.
Gotta say, score has provided good coverage for Pawn, who, even against this Nidalee, is basically saying, well, I don't know what's happening with my jungler, but I got to control what's topside. And
that whole river is just lit up right now.
He's the only person who really is in a position to have strong lane presence. In the top lane, because Vlad takes a bit of time to get going, we do see Ornn pushing up for now, but it will change a little bit as the game goes on. But in the early game, Pawn is really the one with license to push up, and so far with the coverage, he's done a good job holding down the Malzahar.
Score coming right back in, is spotted out on that ward over the wall. He's going to be going for this blue buff.
Playing around his vision and also the pushing in mid lane.
He's got the handoff here for Pawn as he comes
gonna see a trade
around the side. Yeah, you can already see Beyond is prepped there on the mini-map.
Smart move, actually. Smart move from MVP. They kind of understand, hey, we're pushed in top and mid, so we can't go to our own blue buff as we get a pause.
I swear if you have another microphone issue, I'll be so upset with you.
Seeing his cool headset that I guess caused all the problems last time.
Seems like they got it working, at least for the moment here, this time around.
Don't have an update for you yet, OG and Legion, but we'll let you know if we get some words from Joel.
We'll see just what is causing the problem here.
Oh, it is a communication problem, but not in the side of KT.
Yeah, it's got to be MVP. So Ian and Max cannot hear each other here at the moment. So that is going to be our audio issue.
Damn, that's a really good-looking graphic we put up there. We didn't
like,
have one of those last time.
It's like themed for MVP. It's got like the white and blue going and everything.
Oh, GN, that was actually really nice. I didn't know to expect that, so that's cool. If we could have some break music, that'd be even better, but we'll see what happens.
We'll get around to that one, maybe. Just start playing.
One at a time.
Start playing Lightbringer again, just 24/7.
Oh, that's what the fans want. They want some more Pentakill.
Yep, over and over again. Not even the album, just the one song. Be great. But, yep, just a bit into this game so far. Haven't had any action really coming through. Just a bit of harass between the mid laners and the junglers.
The simple fact that KT is kind of going even and forcing trades from the team that picked pushing lanes in the Nidalee is advantage KT. Again, we kind of talk about how in these sort of scenarios, going even for the outscale team is a victory in and of its own. As a little update that hopefully this pause should be very short.
Yeah, so it doesn't seem like we're having quite as severe of an issue as the last time here when Pop and I decided to kick off the season. That was about an hour, so this one should just be a couple minutes long. We should be getting back in rather quickly.
And the players and OGN also do have the license to decide the schedule of our podcast. Could be monthly, could be weekly, we don't know.
Yep.
So far it was just once, so
pretty random.
Might even be once a season if we get all the tech issues done. But the tech issues abated for now.
We're like good at podcasting, but we're terrible at producing one because we just don't have a regular schedule. There's no consistency to it whatsoever.
I'd like to say it's fully out of our hands, but
it's our producers, you know.
The fans always tell me that we should really stop talking, get back to the game. They know best.
There's only so much to talk about 7.5 minutes into the game when you got that pause going on.
Well, let's talk about Malzahar.
Oh, you can talk about that flash right there. Nice little juke back from depth to avoid the spear. As the Devourer there to take him out to safety.
That's actually a good read, all in all, by Mata. He flashes early just because he understood that the likelihood of a roam there was very high, and he wants to be in a safe position. Does mean that Pawn gets a bit of damage. He was previously damaged the enemy mid laner. Now he's getting the turret.
Happier with that one. Trying to get a little bit more there onto Ian. But still going to be a bit. Just has that second Doran's Ring and a dagger at the moment in the inventory, so that stupid Azir damage not going to be coming through for a little while.
I'll say credit to Ian that even though he's been pushed under turret and heavily harassed out,
he's keeping up.
Yeah, he's keeping up. 6 minions pushing in now. He's only about 5 behind when I last saw, and not a trivial thing to do on Malzahar, where specifically the E can do some things that unsettle you. Lose CS.
Oh, it's going to be the flash in for the Nether Grasp as Beyond comes in from the sideline. Spear connects. He's going to go low. Has the stopwatch to try to stay alive, but isn't going to be enough. Comes back out. Emperor's Divide flashes to the side pawn. Can he do it? The spear comes through and it connects. He walks right back into it, and First Blood goes over to Beyond.
That was about as flashy an 8-minute gank as you can see, but it does go successfully. For Beyond, it works out. The flash looked out of context, but you can close the distance so far as the Nidalee. They needed to snowball. It's only a single kill, but it's a feel-good moment for MVP.
Spear to the face, takes him out after all of the heroics there from Pawn to stay alive. Gotta feel pretty bad, and that's gonna help accelerate that Nidalee here for Beyond. If he can keep this ball rolling, it could be very dangerous for KT. In the meantime, though, ADD gonna be getting jumped on, has the flash, burns it out, gets himself into the brush.
Buying time.
Tries to throw down the Hemo play, get a little bit of HP back here. Bursts his way up to about 60%, and now they're trying to turn it around with Ian arriving. Bit of damage there from the Rolethic Visions in on to score. Does not get hit by the spear. He will stay alive, but great turnaround there from MVP.
Yeah, MVP were in position. Credit to Beyond, who was mid lane and then top lane when he was needed. Both gank and also cover with a counter gank. So we see, once again, Pawn pushing in mid lane, but this doesn't have significant AP like you mentioned before, Achilleos. Those auto attacks not going to be smashing down the turret too fast. Starts to add up, though.
Quite a bit, yeah. He is getting a significant amount of damage in onto this. Gonna have to peel back, however, but is trying to get set up for that first turret take there in mid.
Inferno almost gave score. Yeah,
sorry,
red buff. Red buff almost gave score away.
I mean, that would be damn impressive if an Infernal Drake managed to get its way over there.
I mean, it happens sometimes. Enough Syndras in the game, anything's possible.
Well, Pawn, tries to dash out, but the Nethergrass comes through yet again. Beyond, trying to chunk him out. Emperor's Divide shoves in the Nidalee. He'll jump over the wall, but the last turret shot will come through, and Pawn comes up with a kill. Well, one more hit from the Boiling would get it, but no! It doesn't connect. The silence doesn't come through, and Pawn is just stony-faced as he walks away with his life.
It was a true swag walk there. Achilleos walks away, no heal, no flash, lives anyway. Made the smart call, and that's the sort of thing that Pawn will really start to get his swagger back from, because he said, hey, I'm up there. I need to be considered. And understanding that, hey, ulting them away, there was no guarantee he would live. He was going to take a 1-for-1. He gets even better.
Yeah, beautifully played by Pawn. Voidlink's just not able to keep up with him to get that final hit in. What is it with the KT members and having these very minute getaways that we've seen from them so far? Smeb just barely not getting clipped by that Event Horizon, getting the TP off. And now Pawn able to just outplay two members of MVP, pick up a kill, and keep his life at the same time.
It's all fighting words for Pawn, who's gone for the Merc treads early. He wants to avoid that QSS as long as possible. This time score as ultimate.
Yep. Here we go. All the Forge God coming through. Going to be looking for the pop back, but it's going to be the pull there for ADD to dodge that one out, so Smeb doesn't even bother trying to redirect it, but they have the lockup. Plenty of CC between the two, and that is going to be another kill there for KT. 2 on the board as Score finds it. We'll get another look at this super close up.
Not a lot of gameplay to begin things, but watch when he has the decision, do I ult away or not? Because Malzahar still had his passive up, would have done pretty little. So in the end, makes a smart call to ult him into the turret. We can see that null zone. It's more narrow than you might imagine. That could happen for another player. Doesn't happen for Ian, and Pawn gets away.
They were right on his heels there. Everything is barely not connecting. Now looking for Ian to scores around the backhand side. Doesn't have the ultimate available, but offers up another.
They don't care about the ultimate killers. They want the turret.
Yeah. Will zone him back. Can't get the consolation prize of Ian, but more than happy with that. Don't even blow out the flash, but first turret does go over to KT.
It's a big win, actually, for KT Rolster. We talked about the playstyle needed from MVP. Getting mid lane turret.
Oh, beyond.
Got the blue buff, but getting mid lane turret of all turrets really makes the map narrower for Beyond if he wants to play the invading style. Now there's many less passageways to actually get in the face of Score. Relieves pressure from KT, and that outscale we talked about is more reliable when your first turret is mid lane.
Even with KT having the kill advantage, having the turret advantage, they still find themselves in a bit of a deficit. 400 gold behind MVP here at the moment. So it's still a very close game that could go either way. We see it's just a game of inches at the moment, back and forth. Pawn getting the outplay there, picking up the kill onto ADD in the top lane, then immediately MVP coming back and getting that blue buff for themselves. So it's just constantly trading these little micro interactions between the teams. And it's helping to keep this very close. Score trying to yet again to get a blue buff. Will get it this time. Goes in for the charge to lock down and Beyond. Again, waiting here in the river. That's going to be Mata coming through with the Abyssal Voyage. They immediately will turn around as soon as they see that bomb line laid down by Max.
And Zilean, of course, able to single target, bring back anyone, so smart of them to just back away. KT happy to return to laning phase. Longer the laning phase, especially in bot lane, the better. Once the Rage Blade completed onto Deft, who's about 2,000 gold away, at least based on the items he has so far.
Seems like Smeb's having quite a nice time now against ADD at this point. Keeping up well as far as the CS is concerned and just not taking very much damage overall. Deft, however, going to get locked up. Bombs coming through. Chain of Corruption helping to keep him in his place as Beyond comes in. Javelin not going to connect, but they have to run their way out of here. Heal gets used. Or the exhaust gets used, rather, from Mata there to keep him alive. Deft not having to use the heal.
Good mind games about the use of Devour there as well, as Beyond doesn't need to back away. He'll just get rid of the control ward and keep trying to apply pressure. He can no longer apply pressure to Score, so the next best thing is slowing down Cogmore. Probably the right way to go for him. You always kind of need a mission if you're Nidalee. If you're just farming, you're probably making a mistake, so good to see he has the mission of bot lane into Infernal, but neither going to happen.
Yeah, just Deft and Mata pushing forward, zoning them back. In the keep Smeb going to try to gatekeep here onto this Rift Herald. Score moving around the other side. We will see a TP coming through. Ian flashing in, Nethergrass down in onto Score, locks him in, and it's going to be taken away, the Rift Herald there, by Ian at the same time. So kill and objective goes over to him. Smeb trying to walk his way out of here. Pops the stopwatch. ADD charging up, flash away for the Ornn, trying to stay in this one, trying to keep himself alive, has the shield. All the Forge God coming through, gets the redirection, pops up ADD, but cannot get the kill. Beyond now around the backside, has the red buff to slow, can go for the dive if he wants to. Gets a bit of damage in, Smeb juking that one out, trying to TP.
Oh.
Bombs would have interrupted, he's got to cancel it, and looks like he's just going to go down in the end as Max finds it. He bought quite a bit of time at the same. MVP are still going to be able to push in and take down this turret in the top lane.
Your dance moves are only going to take you so far. The teleport wasted all in all. There was just too much damage there, I think, for him to realistically last 4 seconds to get away, but did buy a lot of time. The steal there onto the Rift Herald is also something to talk about. Yeah. ADD actually the one to pick it up in all the pandemonium, and ADD's building for lane here. If you notice, he's going for kind of a Rumble-esque build and going for a very early Void Staff. Rumble commonly will go into first the Merc Treads, then into the Leandris, then Void, just to have the ability to split push in the face of a magic resist stacking top laner, and he's going to get massive value, Achilles, because he's against 3 tanks, and all of them look at the enemy team and go, you've got almost no physical damage. Even Pilot, if he is going to be going for the Rage Blade, which he will be most likely, is going to be basically magic damage only. Confirmation there, I haven't actually looked. Yeah, Wits End starts, so certainly going to be magic damage focused. So a lot of value on Void Staff.
Well, 2-1 there as far as the turrets are concerned, but MVP still with the lead. Almost 2,000 ahead at this point, just 16.5 minutes in. The Infernal Drake still hasn't been taken since that brief visitation from Beyond. Still will be sitting there on the board as a very juicy objective now that that Rift Herald's been taken away. Mata just snatching up the Raptor right
He swag
there.
walked. He actually did cancel there and do a couple of laughs, so felt good about that one. Getting in the head of the enemy.
Have to do it where you can. Yeah, just going to be the bottom lanes joining into the mid here. Trying to keep the waves pushing away. Apply that pressure in towards the tier 2 turret. Help open up that dragon for them.
We are in this awkward spot where we talked about how they want to do things early. This does qualify as early, but the big one-item completions of Rageblade and Nashor's there for Deft and Pawn respectively.
Beyond, as he went to come over the wall, you can see KT waiting to try to interrupt him. Could just be the Smite War, and Beyond's going to take it, and he can just exit straight out the back of the pit. Throws in the Javelin.
Oh, misses.
We're going to be whipping that one out. Yep. Has to get devoured. Carried out by Mata to try to keep him alive. He's still going dangerously low as MVP looks to pursue forward. Deft doing his best to sit in the front and dissuade the members of MVP from pushing forward, but he just doesn't do that much damage as a Cogmaw right now. KT, they go for the hard commit, but just gets taken away yet again. Score missing out on another Smite War.
And KT kind of messed that one up in almost every way. They have to use 3 flashes, both of their bot lane members, and score. Whereas MVP get the steal, they get the positioning on mid lane as well. A lot used there for KT, though, whiffing from score, not a good look either. They want to play the delay, they want to delay the game. First Drake being Infernal going to MVP is not great, but it's 18 minutes, so at least that's on the delay side of things. Delay side of things. Regardless.
It's okay, words are hard.
You pick it up, you realize that MVP needs to be picking up those objectives. The fact that it was forced by KT and then whiffed, not great look for them.
Yeah, double whiff there from Score. Really rough stuff, and they need to tighten up if they're going to be able to close this out. MVP are in a pretty strong spot here. As Pilot gets closer to that Rageblade, now going to be having the Infernal Drake to couple with that when it's completed. Here, Rift Herald going to be channeled here into the bottom lane as they look to knock down that final outer turret.
Not going to force a rotation, given that Ornn was already walking to bot side. They want to continue to increase the pace of this game. Another out of bot lane turret going down would be good for them.
Charge going through. That's about the only damage they'll get from the Rift Herald here onto the turret, but they're looking for a little bit more as Max ADD and Beyond are all grouped up, and yeah, maybe KT just going to have to surrender this one. They don't have the damage to clear out the wave. So final outer turret, or no, not final, but the bottom outer turret, still have the mid lane one standing there for MVP as they tie it up 2-2 in that regard.
I think that sort of play style of running it down bot or top lane pre-20 minutes very useful against KT, because KT almost never make the same sort of play themselves. You see it a lot from Ambition and the side of KSV, but KT much prefer the full court press of playing 3 lanes at once. So smart timing there, like you say. While there were 2 members, Ornn and Sejuani could only do so much. Extra objective to MVP. Around a 3,000 gold lead for them.
Certainly in a good spot. And again, you know, we're talking about this earlier on. KT trying to fight from behind has typically been a weakness for this squad.
Yeah, I'll give them credit where credit's due. They looked a lot better at Casper Cup doing that, as the chase is on.
That was predictable. Dodge that one out. Does cost him a bit of HP as ADD will get jumped on. Abyssal Voyage coming through. Mata and Def looking to join the fray. ADD pretty much just trying to buy as much time as he possibly can for himself at this point.
Oh, he really does.
Let's get the heal up. Running his way up. Hemo Plague coming down. There's no way out of this one for the most part, but at least just make it more difficult for KT. Slow up coming through as he goes into the pool. He will get taken down. It's going to be Smeb snatching up the kill at the end of the day, but I mean, that was a lot of time bought, and now the rest of MVP, they're posturing up here into the mid lane, looking for that turret.
They're threatening a dive, but looking to take the outer mid lane turret, even with a Zero Wave, they're not enough. Ult use, goes wide again.
Whip, yeah, just going to be slowing out Max there. He'll take a bit of damage, but does force out the flash now.
Ornn
Smeb TPing in from the back. Slow up onto Max as he tries to zip his way away. Throws down the ultimate onto himself, and KT now just going to have the inside track onto this turret, I suppose, to try to get in towards that tier 2.
They shorten the lane with the Azir turret as well, and Score finds Ian.
Oh, he does. Almost gets the slow up, does get the stun in the end as Ian flashes away with the ghost to keep himself alive. KT going to be trying to force this one out, get a bit of damage in, but the wave clear from MVP is still rather significant. Piercing arrow to come in. Deft now with turret aggro. Has to kite back, takes multiple shots, and gets knocked down to about half HP. Low mana as well for him, so it seems like KT are just going to have to abandon the fight.
And the micro decisions there from KT compared to something like Smeb's overextension in Game 1 were much better. Just rushing down mid, able to make the lane much shorter by putting down the sand turret and get a lot of chunk onto the inner mid lane turret there. So smart moves from KT means they trade up in terms of turret damage, which is great from them. And Pawn also finds the latitude to go top lane and keep pushing.
Yeah, I mean, the calls are good. I think that the biggest concern here is just it's another whipped ultimate from Score. Can't seem to land these. It's always going straight in between the members of MVP.
Sometimes when you're playing, even on solo queue, but certainly in competitive play, if things don't go your way once, twice, and you can feel the whole weight of expectation come crashing on you. Score's been around longer than any. He's our only player whose tenure began the first ever OGN tournament in January of 2012. But his mechanics so far this season have been demonstrably weaker. That's something for him to work upon, because it's just not the top standard we expect from Score.
Certainly not. Smeb yet again, just looking to keep trading with ADD. Take him low. Doesn't have the backup from his team this time around. They'll be fine to just keep going back and forth over CSing. KT just trying to work their way into the river here, clear out this vision from MVP and lay down some of their own.
I want to get deep vision, but for now that's pretty impossible. Score would have to walk forwards with Tom Kent shadowing him, and you can see that Score and Smarter weren't playing together as Smeb found himself caught out.
Well, that distraction, drawing everyone down to potentially pick off the Ornn, does open up for that turret to be taken by Pawn in the end. So all three outer turrets there for KT. Take those away, and they have that inner one in mid, also pretty significantly weakened. Forge God going through, lockdown in onto Max. He's got the ultimate rolling on himself. Seems like it's going to be KT just abandoning the kill attempt. Bomb's coming down, doesn't get the second one for the stun. MVP just trying to poke out and dissuade KT from pushing further.
Yeah, KT really wants to play two lanes this game because MVP, because they've opted into Nidalee, don't really have a face checker. Vladimir may be that person, but they don't have a tank support either. So they can't put down vision. Their Baron battles are really weak, and that's why every time they face check, someone kind of has to flash away if you do see someone like the Cogmore there.
Yeah, and that's just going to keep costing him as the game goes longer and longer. So Pilot now without the flash could cost him, the opportunity at getting a lockdown with the Chain of Corruption or the chance to get away. Just waiting for the Devour to come off cooldown. They'll take a little bit of damage. Mata still not playing around, just goes immediately for the flash as soon as that Javelin gets connected.
And Malzahar
Javelin, as I almost said.
Malzahar was coming in with Ghost. So, right read there for Mata. MVP, it's such an interesting tussle here when it comes to vision around Baron, because KT, if they're in formation, MVP kind of has to hang back. All they can do is poke and hope they get chunk on a low health member. If they're in the wrong formation, then deep vision goes down, the Baron gets taken, and then MVP's comp falls apart. So you feel like the first team to pick up the Baron, if it's KT, it may even ice the game. But if it's MVP, it's a start to kind of a march towards actually being able to push into the KT base.
Well, they're trying to double
duo
this right here as Score and Pawn just go straight in onto the Baron. It's completely in the dark, and they have the rest of the squad kind of showing, but the Baron does so much damage. You can see Score getting chunked out. They need support here. Missile Voyage will come through. Now the full commit coming in. But with Pawn and Score already so low, there's going to be some very swift kills getting picked up here by MVP. They almost have Score. Nether Grasp. The flash takes him over the wall. He gets out of there safely. Deft is stuck in the pit, however, nowhere to go. Seems like he's just going to be trying to trade back here onto Ian. Takes him low. Zillion ultimate is there. Deft still firing away. Can he get the kill? No, not going to happen. He gets taken down in the end. They'll also find Pawn at the same time. So 3 members dead on the side of KT. They'll have 2 Baron buffs to work with. And that certainly didn't go to plan. They tried to get the sneak away, but as soon as that Abyssal Voyage happens, it's pretty blatant for MVP as to what's going on.
Yeah, it was all pretty messy. Score doesn't have War Marks. He has the magic resist here, so he almost dies straight up from the start. Actually doesn't die to the ultimate there coming through from the Malzahar. Deft is caught alone, and MVP are like, okay, let's chase other kills. We've got Deft. But Deft is powerful. He turns here between 2 targets, wants to split his damage as much as possible. They assume he's going to die to the Voidlings.
It's a bomb on the Voidlings.
He ends up trading flash for flash with a Zillion, which can be relevant, but usually isn't. So it's probably a trade down, all things considered. And a top lane and a turret going down for KT Rolster as well.
Yeah, 2 turrets taken there by MVP with those respawn timers for KT, so even though they're the ones with the Baron, they're still going to be the ones losing the objectives. And another one ready to happen as this Cloud Drake will get taken by MVP. So, yeah, extremely rough spot now for KT as they slip further behind, nearly 5,000 gold down.
Smeb's items make me grimace because he's already upgraded his Abyssal Mask, which usually is not the best choice. Be like, okay, what about the item slots? You want to keep your Control Ward slots. He has a damn refillable still in his inventory instead of a Control Ward, Achilles.
I mean, hey man, that gets you like 2% of his total HP right now.
He has a Cloth Armor, a Doran Shield, and a refillable. No Control Ward, and he upgraded his Ornn. That's just bad. Yeah, well, that's fair. I know you don't have an answer over there,
All I can do is
Achilles.
shrug at you, man. I agree.
Well, I don't know what Smeb's on today. He's being a bit creative. Maybe he's trying to lull Antara into a false sense of security for the telecom war. Who knows?
Yeah, there you go. The really big.
Look at me. I don't even know what items.
40 chess mind game style here. Smeb going to be looking for the knock up there. Does get it onto ADD. They shove him back with the Emperor's Divide, and that is going to be pretty much a dead Vladimir here. Redemption getting ready to come through, but no, Max has the denial with the ultimate from the Zillion. He'll come right back up. Goes right back down. Mata taking away the kill as KT pick one off. The rest of MVP converging onto this bottom lane.
It's brute force approach here from KT. Yeah, very, very strong. They have a couple of Baron buffs as well. Said if they get the Baron, it could be big. They got the Baron. When score at least is grouped.
Be careful though, Pawn very low. Deft, however, pushing here in the mid lane by himself, is able to take down that inner turret. So bringing back the gold a little bit here for KT. They have to wait for the minion wave, which is still halfway up the lane in order to continue this push. For now, it's just going to be that empowered cannon minion chunking away very steadily at that turret. In the meantime, the rest of KT Deft, especially here, trying to siege up some damage onto that inhib turret, but very little avail.
Minion wave finally comes in bot side, but showing a lot of respect and restraint here, KT Rolster. Less than you'd imagine in this scenario. Only playing 2 lanes because top lane was slow pushing. It's the way of KT. Back away with only a chunked out inner mid lane turret dispatched. Otherwise, pretty low value Baron buff power play. Kind of expected when there was a full reset after all the deaths.
I mean, any bit of movement forward here from KT is going to be good, considering how far down they've been and how punished they were after taking the Baron. Says thank you very much. Puts it out to the side.
Scuttle Crab seeing areas he's never seen before.
He's just trying to go home, man.
We've all felt that feel.
He doesn't want any involvement in that. Looking for the knock-up, does find the connection there in onto Max. Another pop-up to try to finish off the Zillion. He's got the ultimate ready to go, so he'll be brought back into the fight. So takes a little bit of damage there off the back end, but he's going to be fine in the end.
Yeah,
CP
not necessarily
gets canceled there by ADD.
Not necessarily the biggest cooldown either, because the minions in both bot and top pretty centralized. So usually forcing out the Zillion ult might mean an immediate re-engage, and they still had the Sejuani ult up, but for now at least, rinse and repeat. This doesn't necessarily concern KT. They still have full trust in their team comp when it comes to 5v5 fights. But credit to MVP. They largely have been able to find smaller skirmishes. They largely have been able to play around the small mistakes from KT rather than necessarily opting into a true 5v5. The long lane, this sort of scenario with 10 champions, is the only area where MVP are desperately avoiding.
Well, 30 minutes in here, 6-4. 3,500 gold in the lead for MVP. Certainly a better spot for them compared to what was happening in game number 1. Closing it out, that's where it's going to be really difficult for them. It's been overall pretty steady for MVP. It's been looking rather good. Improvements on game 1, but getting over that finish line is where things are going to be very difficult for them because KT are not budging. They're going to be pushing back as much as they possibly can.
It does still feel to me like an inevitable KT victory with where the game is currently at, but the amount of things that can happen between now and then that really are kind of more concerns for KT going into that very difficult match against SKT are numerous. This is not an easy game to clear because you look at MVP, a lot of wave clear, a lot of poke, a lot of damage needs to be respected. Someone loses their health and then you have to back and then your minion waves are in the wrong order. This game can kind of be reset in sort of similar fashion to the Baron resets in the BBQ game a few days ago. So while there's an inevitability, it's still going to take some time.
I mean, aside from the issues that we're seeing here from KT, it's also, what jungler do you prepare for SK Telecom?
We're going to get that confirmation later.
Is it Wolf? Is it Blank?
I mean,
is it Blossom?
We saw Wolf swap in. We haven't seen Wolf start yet. I think Wolf starts today, and then suddenly everything's going to be completely off the rails.
A bit wonky. Ooh, deft. Or pathing almost goes back around outside of the turret there to take the bomb, but they will avoid the stun. Score waiting in the brush, will get spotted out, throws out the ultimate, lands this one, but Max immediately going to be free to that. Beyond with stopwatch. Himself alive there for the moment, but will make it out. ADD, he's been chunked down. KT not really any closer to picking off a member of MVP.
They're just trying to make a brute force because they didn't have the minion waves and all. They said, okay, let's win a fight, and then we can actually just push through mid. They don't have their minion waves. Vlad is in top side. They've used their initiation CC. It's a small delay on the game, Kilios.
Yep. I do say the stopwatch, but it's the completed Zonia's Hourglass there for Beyond at this point.
And that was the Summoner Spell Cleanse, if you were wondering how Zilean was able to get out of the first CC. It's with Unsealed Spellbook, able to swap into that. A lot of supports taking Cleanse recently.
Is getting devoured. Stays alive here. As the Baron has respawned. MVP getting a nice shove there into the mid lane. Now Ian, pushing forward. Not under much threat yet. Does get healed up. Staying alive at the moment as Pilot starts firing away. Forces the flash out of Mata. All the Forge God coming through. Smeb bounces it back in. Finds a knock-up in on the Pilot, but nobody else can really collapse in on top of the Varus. Now the Redemption comes through, heals him back up, and he is just sieging over the wall, poking down the members of KT, and they can't find a way to get the hard commit onto the carries of MVP.
Because MVP will not hard commit. Notice there's no flash Hemoplagues here. Everyone is playing around their maximum auto attack range, and therefore you've got Azir and Kog'Maw, the strongest champions, or among the strongest champions in the game, at doing damage to people coming to you. Frustrated because when W's down, Kog'Maw can't auto attack anyone. Azir's Sand Soldiers are never in the right spot because there's so much mobility from Cillian, Vladimir, everyone else. They're turning on to Smeb.
Yeah, he's walking in all by himself. He's going to go low. He's going to get locked up from the bombs, and he is just going to get taken out of the fight. Max comes up with the kill. No Plague there onto Pawn. Does take away a little bit of HP, but now suddenly MVP, they're the ones that have the advantage going in for this bear, and that massive AoE, that knockup from the Call to Forge God has been eliminated. Smeb, he's out of the fight for another 35 seconds.
They're going to try a 4v5 here, KT, playing around max ranges. Skull wants to pay back and maybe have to do a steal. 3,000 on the Baron. It's going low.
Baron going low. Score coming in, tries to get it away, but yet again, Beyond is going to be the one winning the 50-50 Baron. Pawn, Malefic Vision's ticking away. Voidling's on his heels, has to just run out of there, and MVP, they were able to take multiple turrets without the Baron. Now they have it, and they have it on all 5 members. MVP might be able to close out this game, Papa Smithy.
Their psychological game is really working against KT Rolster. Smeb walked up and thought, hey, I got the Ornn buffed Abyssal Mask. I'm very, very tanky. Warmox couldn't even use his locket during the majority of that.
He barely looked tanky in that.
But he also was face-checking into 5 with no backup, with no Tahm Kench next to him, kind of unnecessarily, because they're frustrated. They're not getting the fights they want because MVP are playing smart with a very execution-heavy comp. One person gets in melee range of Kog'Maw Azir. They die in half a second. No one's doing that. Everyone's playing their role. Feels like one person's having a brain explosion every 5 to 10 minutes for KT in these high-pressure moments. They reset again, but this time MVP with Baron.
Def trying to clear out these minions here in the mid lane. Just to run away though, because spears and bombs await him if he sticks around. As well as that Nether Grasp, which is already back off cooldown. In the meantime, ADD just going to go ahead and add another Cloud Drake to the inventory. The arsenal of MVP.
Back up win condition now as well. Yep. 3 Drake buffs.
Elder on the way. And like you say, could have just all of that true damage burn coming through fairly shortly once that Elder Dragon becomes available. 7,500 gold in the lead at this point. MVP looking to add more to the pot as they go ahead and knock down this last inner turret.
Now, once you get to the inhibitor turret, the area does get narrower. That 5v5 fight does start to become required if you're MVP. 8,000 gold up, Achilles, so compositionally down perhaps, but gold and Baron buff working for them. But now at least, not feeling brazen enough to force anything under turret.
Good damage there onto ADD.
No other minion waves going to be aiding them. They're just playing down one lane here, MVP. Not usually the way you want to do with a comp like this, but they're trying.
Yeah, they're just trying to force this one out.
ADD doesn't have flash to just go completely Rambo, but if he did, he might consider just trying to force flashes or force people away from the turret.
I mean, we might just have to wait for the moment here from Pawn to go in for that massive Emperor's Divide, if you can pull off the Shuri and the Shuffle, isolate somebody like Pawn, or Pilot rather, take him out. Pawn doesn't really want to isolate himself.
No.
He at least has a Zonius for that, and a Banshees. So if he does go in for the Shuri and Shuffle, he'll be alright.
Left has gone very single target, you'll notice. Did not go for the Hurricane, went for...
Yeah, Rapid Fire Cannon.
Have that extra range on W. He's not hitting anyone, so that's why he doesn't go for Hurricane. Because Achilles, if you're against tanks, you know where they're going to be. They're going to be trying to squish you like a bug. But against a team like this, there's never going to be 3 people in range for him to hit. You know, you might think, okay, Hurricane, everyone's squishy, you're going to mow them all down. But he's just not hitting anyone, so he needs the extra range to even poke, let alone kill something.
Working towards that 6th item when he can for now, just still sitting there with the Targans.
Might just be Infinity Edge, but it might have to be something like a Guardian Angel. We know it's not going to be QSS.
GA,
we know anything about
Bloodthirster, or something like that to help him stay in the fight for a longer period of time. Trying to siege up here. Put out those R's where he can. The nice thing, at least for KT, is that even with the Baron-empowered minions, they can still clean out the waves rather quickly. The Baron expired.
Yeah, Baron expired, they didn't lose a inhibitor. That's definitely the nice thing for KT.
Yeah,
but
it's just one turret and the Dragon that got picked up, but they still have to be concerned.
Surrendered all of the map, which is kind of the problem there. So the next Baron is looking more and more straightforward for MVP to take. Credit to MVP. This is definitely by far their best game they've played so far this season at the 4th time of asking. Solid with a difficult comp. You see why they're returning to the Nidalee that they couldn't make work against Kongnu Monster. They do seem to have a lot of practice on this. Feels like Chaos style in many ways. The ability to focus only on skirmish, to never be able to truly 5v5. Can't really call it a poke comp when Vladimir may poke melee champions in lane, but otherwise hard committing. Mountain of gold on said Vladimir. 2,500 gold ahead of his opponent.
So now, though, what is going to be the next move for MVP is kind of the question. You know, even with the Baron buff, they weren't able to siege up and get in onto those inhib turrets. Did they just wait for another Baron or wait for that Elder Dragon and allow for KT to farm in the meantime?
If you ask me what the best team in the world would do in this scenario with this comp, it would be a lot about trying to play side lanes. Really getting your side lanes in order so you have split slow pushes happening in 2 lanes. The Baron spawns and it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. For the side of KT. MVP haven't been a great team at playing their side lanes ever. That's never been a strength of their play. Their preparation for games has never really led to that. So I think for them, it's just a lot about playing around, trying to find picks. Saw Orin there, I believe, out of the corner of his eye. Don't know that Sejuani's here as well. And now there's 5.
The Abyssal Voyage coming through, and Ian is absolutely destroyed. Pawn finding the kill. Gets the knockaway there. The Forge call, but can't quite find Pilot. He flashed over the wall to keep himself safe. KT now, though, with that pickoff onto the Malzahar, that means that the Kog'Maw, the Azir, is that much safer in these fights.
Yeah, MVP tried to play See Hero, kill Hero, but KT read him like a book. Very good positioning there. Orin was, I believe, on the edge of vision,
but just kind of popped out there.
He didn't count on Sejuani. Then you saw 2 coming in from the Abyssal Voyage, and that's when he knew he was boned. So that was certainly a pretty big mistake there individually from Ian. We'll see KT actually get some map control. The Baron that spawns in a minute going to have some attention. The sweepers go down. Unnecessary from MVP. If this was tennis, that would be an unforced error. Unforced error from the side of MVP. Nice play from KT. And we get a bit more parity from, as you say, MVP, who were kind of in the lead for the past 5 or 6 minutes.
See how safely they want to play this, though. Even though they got rid of the Malzahar, they don't want to just push in and try to knock down that inner turret, try to go for the inhibitor turret in the mid lane. They still don't want to get ahead of themselves. They know that there is a lot of deadly power on the side of MVP with Pilot, and Max especially still alive in the fight, can completely deny any pickoffs that KT get and help turn those fights around. So they just go ahead, they kite back, clear out the waves, and get prepped for this Baron that's going to be spawning in 15 seconds.
And they've definitely got the double whammy or the 1-2 punch of the scaling teamfight comp and Ornn giving them basically a 7th item, you know, an extra 5,000 gold worth of stats coming through with the upgrades. See upgraded Zonias and the cheaper upgraded Redemption coming through on the side of Tom Kench. I don't believe Death actually has an item that can be upgraded yet.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Infinity Edge would definitely be the one I'm thinking of
Needs
for
to
80s.
get rid of the Relic Shield there.
You definitely hold on to Relic Shield till you have a full item.
Oh yeah, you don't want to just buy it for a component.
If you're wanting it at home, you definitely don't swap BF's sword for Relic Shield. You wait for the full item because you get so much value from the shield. Trying for another force.
Yep, looking for the redirect, gets the pop-up there. On to Beyond, he takes a little bit of damage, goes golden with his Zonias. Keeps himself alive. In the meantime, ADD just trying to poke out here from the side, goes into the sanguine pool, which means that the ultimate there from Scored is not going to connect. Ultimates being tossed out here and there. Overall, it's just KT just trying to poke out MVP, weaken them enough so they have enough time to go over to that Baron and absolutely melt it. With this Azir and this Kog'Maw at this stage in the game, they will destroy it in a matter of seconds. Yeah,
the duo attempt by the Azir would certainly be a lot more successful in this case. But we see KT just sitting under the turret while they have Score and Azir clear out the Scuttle Crab and get control as Deft playing around the edges. Of course, does have the W available to bow there.
Damage there, yep, the bomb coming through as well. Poking him down, but staying in the fight. But now, you know, it's basically a choice. Do you want to go for the Elder Dragon or do you want to go for the Baron? In this context, given the 3 stacks for MVP, KT taking away the Elder might be the best play.
No, there's going to be less preparation around it, but it is pretty low value for them. It's more of a denial, like you say, than a real win, but a denial's a denial.
They're trying to do this out, but the Spooky Ghost coming
Beyond
through here.
is going to scout this out.
Yeah, they're going to see it. They see how low it's going. Beyond. It seems like they're just going to go ahead and maybe surrender this one.
They're going to run to Baron.
Yeah, he's calling out the ultimate to try to interrupt this. That's going to be the Elder Dragon finished.
It is straight on Baron.
Yeah, they're starting it up.
They're going to get this probably too fast. They do plenty of damage as well.
Yeah, 6,000 HP ready to go. Baron going low and Score just not in the pit. That will be the takeaway there from MVP, but can they make it out with their lives? It's about pushing forward, looking for AD.
sees a group team.
Tries to find the lockdown onto the Vladimir, but cannot get it, so just going to be an exchange of the objectives there. KT, they get the denial on the Elder Drake, but with no stacks, they're not really getting that much benefit from it.
I mean, it was a good read from the side of MVP. They knew, okay, we could contest, but why contest when we're guaranteed a Baron that is of higher value than KT's Elder Dragon? Longer duration, no buffs for KT to get more true damage on it or extra effective stats from the lack of Drakes they'd picked up. So it's really big here from MVP. That's the smart move. That's just basically getting a steak dinner when the enemy gets just, you know, a piece of sushi. At the end of the day, they've ended up getting more power, more bang for their buck, and that means that now, once again, KT will have to have the game delayed.
This one's just going to keep going on and on. 44 minutes, getting ready to come up here on the horizon for us. See just how long it's going to take to close this one out, because, again, I mean, there very well could be a Game 3 waiting for us after this, Papa Smithy.
I wasn't believing it when I saw this comp that failed for them against Kongdu Monster locked in, but their play has been so much more reliable around it, and the KT that all the members were saying was going to be there, the team being more on the same page, turning 5 individual stars into a team, we still haven't seen it in the first week of the LCK. They've kind of been all at sea in big ways and small. KT do remind you so much of their 2017 spring presence, let alone any kind of extra reliability to their play, but they still have the team fight advantage, and you still have to win a team fight to end a game.
Well, they're waiting over the wall, but the minions come through, so Score does get spotted out before he can throw the ultimate. Trying to get a lockdown there on a Beyond. Fortunately for him, he's pretty tanky, so those javelins coming through from this fairly stacked Italy aren't doing a heck of a lot of damage to him. But the siege has begun, and MVP have already very much weakened this turret here. For the deflection there, Ian's still going to get popped up. They go forward, trying to get the lockdown. He's down to about half HP. So KT going to be hesitant. We'll go ahead and start turning around.
Eddie on the flank, he returns the turret. So much AP chunking it.
So Voyage coming through, going to be looking for the lockdown there onto the Vladimir. He's trying to zip his way away with that Ghost. Gets very low. Ultimate coming through from Deft. One more hit would do it, but he just can't quite get in range. ADD will walk away with his life.
Some minions on the turret top side as well. They back away. No punishment to the side of MVP. Rinse and repeat possible, but not with the Baron buff. About 50 seconds left on that, so won't get their waves in order. Could have been the pivotal moment in the game, but we slow down. Deft has gone very low damage. He's actually finished the Mormal Mortius last, focusing on magic resist, basically saying, at some point in this game, I'm going to be sitting and taking damage, but outputting more than they can take, and hopefully Pawn can do the hard work as well. Not a huge fan of it. We knew from the previous time Deft played, he wasn't going to be going towards Mercurial Scimitar. To some degree understandable with the Tahm Kench next to him at all moments, but now you can't make a positioning mistake, and it's the weird spot where you went for extra tankiness with the Maw, and yet you can still be completely obliterated because you don't have a QSS, so it's very, very tricky here. Devour and Flash so important as ADD.
Yep, just waiting in the brush right there. Mata take a little bit of damage, and Pawn going to shift away. himself nice and safe in ADD. He barely took any damage, immediately just gets hopped right back up.
But the side waves are advantage KT, so we kind of reach a stalemate again.
I feel like this is going to be a double Elder game here.
We might see the big 60 this game in terms of minutes played.
Oh, Pawn just having to respect Ian there, threatening that Nether Grasp, immediately flashes away, and that's going to be the turret line getting broken inside the base of KT. Ultimate comes out, does get the lockdown there on the pilot, but nobody else can go forward. KT just kind of wavering here. In the face of MVP, Stun goes through, gets a lockdown in onto Smeb so far. Inhibitor getting focused out now, down to about half HP.
Silence!
The knockback, but oh yeah, the silence, he can't get the redirection. Massive turnaround there for MVP as they try to finish this one off. AD bursting right back up to full HP. Like
Death
nothing
so
ever
low.
happened.
You got hit by a max range spear, and now the Maw does procs. There's another tool not available for them. MVP, they have a minion wave that's been slow pushing all this time. They're going to taxi it, they're going to try and take a second inhibitor. Cooldowns are short for Smeb. He still needs another 20 seconds. He will not have it for this wave.
ADD frontlining takes a little bit of damage there, but still going to be all right to stick in the fight. Charge away by Smeb, making sure that he can still be a frontliner if the hard commit comes through from MVP, but it's not going to. They're immediately just going to go ahead, turn around, give up on that fight in the bottom lane. They got the inhibitor in mid. That's going to alleviate a lot of pressure. They also have to answer this top wave.
And the bizarre thing here for KT is that inevitability of the late game with such a low damage, but okay, he's adjusted again. Notice that now he does actually have sold the Wit's End, bought Infinity Edge, and now upgraded it to the All Infinity Edge. That's important because I was struck by how little damage the Cogmore was doing. Doesn't mean his attack speed is a bit lower until the Ginsu Rage Blade starts to stack up, but Deft at least now has threat that was actually pretty absent the last time we saw an extended fight.
We'll have to see, just how much of a difference this is going to make in the next skirmish. But if it's a significant one, which, is kind of what we're expecting, if he's able to fire off, and you have to wonder, just think about how much better the game would have been, maybe even over in a victory for KT if he just done this sooner.
I mean, there's
feels
gold
the needs
values.
now.
Wit's End is a lot of power for his team. Always a bit down for you don't. As ADD just wants to get on Deft.
Yep, he's going to go low. Power comes through, however, keeps him safe.
Might have flashed down now.
A little bit of damage there. Now going to be the Nether Grasp in on his scores. They try to finish him off. While the Forge God comes through, gets a double pop up there onto Pilot and Max. This Pilot takes a good amount of damage, but the heals coming through from this Nidalee are just huge. 749, I do believe, right there onto Pilot to keep him in the fight.
Swallow can back away. Warmogs will do the rest. This is one of those moments where they can walk up. They know some important cooldowns are down. So short, though, is the Malzahar ultimate. You blink and you miss, it's back available in about another 8 seconds.
So much tiptoeing here, back and forth. 20 seconds onto this Baron now. KT would love to at least get a pick off onto somebody. The heals coming through. The Zillion ultimate there to just ensure that they stay alive.
When was the last time
so difficult?
Pawn was even in range to damage someone? He's been kited this entire game.
He gets like one soldier hit in and then they're out of range again.
Or he moves up, gets hit by a spear, and has to exit the fight.
Yeah, throws down the turret, but that is going to be taken down very swiftly as Pilot just opens up with the auto attacks. They finish that one off.
Demon Plague almost off cooldown. Got another few seconds for that one.
No flash, so ADD can't just jump over the wall and try to finish it off. And oh my god, Beyond. He gets ripped apart, but they found Depth. They take him out. And now KT going all in. They trade it back. Pilot goes down as Pawn finds the kill.
Pawn can win this fight alone.
He has to try to stay alive. Malefic Visions are ticking away onto him. He is out of the fight, as is Mata. Now it's just Smeb and Score. Very tanky, but on their lonesome, trying to kite their way out of this.
Yeah, if it was full health Azir, he could have carried it, but he has a full health tank line, but no health himself. 80 carries traded. Pawn has to back away completely. They can predict that he's in base healing right now. And MVP, no mana on Beyond, so maybe Baron is going to be a bit tricky for them.
Seems like they won't be able to go straight in for that one. Though they have burned the TP. Ian just TP'd over. It looks like they might just be going for this. Spear goes through. They're going to start this one up. Score's waiting in the wings.
So much stuff happening. Score here, full health for the steal. Azir back as well. No guarantees here. This is the moment.
He has missed the secures on pretty much every objective this game. Score has to find this one, but the Nethergrass comes through. Redirect there on the call. The Forge God gets the double pop up yet again, but the Baron is going to go over to MVP. For the kills, haven't found any luck yet. Pawn trying to just fire with his hand soldiers over this wall, trying to get onto somebody like Beyond to take them out. He just can't get in range, and Smeb gets absolutely chunked down.
Bottom inner turret goes down. The minions start to focus. Great use of the ultimate there from Ian, guaranteeing that there'll be no smite contest. Not even a chance for him to fail. Just completely zoned away. No AD carries always makes these scenarios so different. You want to give the advantage to the consistent damage dealer. That consistent damage dealer is Azir. But for once, Azir is being kited and outranged at every moment because no one is walking in to the Sand Soldiers. Everyone is kiting them.
I mean, I don't think we've really seen Pawn go for a massive Emperor's Divide play this entire game. He just hasn't had the opportunity, and he knows that if he goes in, he'll probably die before he can even use the Zonias, which I think he just sold.
He's varying up his items. He could have considered actually going for something different here. He's going to go for maximum AP.
Chain Eruptions comes through, doesn't get that second proc to lock down the remaining members of the KT that were in the range.
This may also give him Zonia's back. That might have actually been a cooldown move. I didn't quite miss it there, but sometimes selling and reselling an Ornn items have different properties. I know that if you have an Ornn Lock of the Iron Solari, you can stack it with a normal Lock of the Iron Solari. There's little things there, but assume it was for the cooldown as now Elder Dragon started. Second one of the game, remember.
It is KT here on the left, MVP on the right. Both of them going to be doing a massive amount of damage. Score. Can he do it? This is like his 5th try this game to try to get the steal away. Nethergrass available yet again as the Elder Dragon starts to get the reset. Pop-ups coming through, looks for it, and he finally takes it away. Now the ultimate straight in gets the lockdown. Zillion ultimate there to bring back Beyond, but he has got to get out of dodge, jumps over the wall.
Pawn just flashes forward, he wants to keep fighting.
The hits coming through from depth as he's trying to knock him down with the artillery. Beyond still looks like he's going to be elusive enough to stay alive, but now Pawn going forward, gets the Emperor's Divide, tries to pin them into the wall, goes golden, tries to stay in the fight, but he's going to get taken out. They actually turn this one around. Pilot comes up with the kill in onto Smeb, and now Pawn's been taken out, but Steph, he comes in, he's going monster mode with the Cogmo, a double kill immediately coming through, now healing all the way back up just about the full HP, and Beyond and Max are stranded in the lane.
Just an insane passage of plays. Azir flashed all the way over just to close the distance to do damage. Flashed in for Def, who flashes in again, eventually going to get Beyond. Zillion was actually just trying to slow down the push of the minions. Now going for a long run. The Yakety Sax in full display here, Achilleos. And yet, because they've delayed so much time, you see the pings, but KT are not super fast. What can they get from this? I don't know if they can end the game. The death time is so long,
I mean, it's 13 seconds here on ADD. He'll offer up a significant amount of wave clear. 30 seconds on Ian, another 30 on Pilot. With Max alone right now trying to defend this. So Inhibitors certainly going to be going down. You can see Max is busy just trying to get rid of the minion wave there in the top side of the map.
It's going to be a single inhibitor, if any. Respawn time on Pilot, still 20. All right, should be one inhibitor here for KT.
Yeah. Get this and they can get out safely. ADD is just kind of tickling Score in the front line here.
What does it mean, Achilleos? Because you see an inhibitor go down and your color caster bullet points say one more team fight and they'll win the game. But they've gotten one team fight in 55 minutes because they've been so well kited the entire time by MVP. You're going to see the replay. I mean, so it starts here.
It's going to be a long one.
This is kind of lose-lose because KT need to steal this, otherwise they probably lose in a DPS fight to the 3-buff Elder Dragon. It goes down, you say, okay, they got the one pick here, they're going to have to back away. MVP start kiting down, and the only way for Pawn to not get kited is him flashing over the fat wall and going in alone. This is the reason Deft wasn't there, but Deft not being there and being distracted by Beyond almost lost them this fight.
Yeah, I mean, Pilot just turning around, getting this double kill at the end, just chunks out Smeb straight into Pawn.
And then Deft announces his presence with a flash in. He does have that super infinity edge.
Hello, how's it going?
So much had to happen for them to just get something resembling a fight.
This is a mess.
Pawn at least has read. He's like, all right, I'm going to get one round of spells with my Sand Soldiers. He's actually bought Berserker's Greaves. He's sold his Merc Treads to go for maximum damage. Even if he dies, it might be fine. His Devour is drawn out.
Looking for that slow up there on the ADD, doesn't quite find it. Deft has to be kept alive. That is the hope here for KT. Even if Pawn goes down, if Deft is there in the fight, they have a chance. At this point, over 100,000 gold for both teams. The gold doesn't matter anymore. 10-10 in kills with an hour on the horizon, just 4 more minutes to go, and we'll be breaking that 60-minute mark.
This is definitely the Who's line of team fights, where nothing matters except for you'd have to think a big outplay. I think the biggest thing that matters for KT is Pawn having flash up to try to do a big play with Zonias. He doesn't have flash about another minute. It does ruin some of their options. Inhibitor respawned in mid lane for KT, but MVP with so much ranged pushing have moved the minion wave up as far as possible. One more mistake could still decide this game either way, Achilles.
Pushing back in here to the jungle, red buff trying to be handed off, but not quite going to happen. Will be the smite away there from Score to make sure that they can take it. As we have a minute and 10 seconds left on the clock before that Baron comes up. We'll go ahead and flash it. I was actually just looking it up myself. What was the longest game time of last season? And that's going to be it right there. KT, of course, involved.
Oh, we're beating it for sure.
59-54. And
it took them 55 minutes to get one team
there's
fight.
There's no way in hell that we don't exceed that.
It's going to take at least 10% of 55 minutes for them to find a second one. So.
Yeah.
And the awkward thing is everyone's like, you know what? I could use my summoner spells back up for the next fight, which will decide the game, and that adds extra minutes. Ugh, just insanity. Even with Orin upgraded items, it doesn't matter in the late game fights because they're not really fights.
Yeah.
Basically, it feels like MVP are the boxer with like the fleetest footwork possible, just darting in and out, never actually presenting themselves to be hit. And KT have the knockout punch, but they can just never hit MVP. Surreal stuff here. Still don't know what the turning point will be. To me, it's going to be a single individual mistake that will really decide this game. Trinity Force on Kog'Maw. It's just to help him close the distance with the rage passing.
Well, here we go, straight down the mid lane. They're pushing down into the bottom side. Trying to work that one away from the base with that Zerat portal. Baron completely blacked out here for KT at the moment. Throw down the one scrying orb, but it's going to be taken out immediately. And MVP, they're just going to open up in onto this Baron. Depth gets them vision with the R. Forge God coming through, pops up two, takes a little bit of HP away from Beyond.
That walks up.
Okay. Spits off Depth, keeps him alive. ADD goes forward, he just gets chunked out. The heals start to come through. Nethergrass thrown down by Ian. The shield comes out, but he's still going to get taken down. Pawn finds the kill, now goes in. Emperor's Divide comes through. Max in the back line, will get taken out on double kill. Over to Pawn here to start off the fight. Pilot answers one in on to Score. No smite available for KT, which means they might not go for the Baron, even with the man advantage.
We all back away after what looked like on first glance would be the deciding fight. They do have Warmogs here on multiple members. They're going to return to it. They don't know ADD is still there.
Beyond's going to be here.
Pawn and Death can die to one rotation from Vlad.
See the piercing arrow there onto Depth, does chunk him out.
This
Depth
is
has to
so
open up on the Baron
risky.
just to get healed back up. Pawn is still so low. All the Forge God comes through yet again. They get the pop up in onto Pilot. Can they finish him off? Pawn goes for it. Depth is there with the damage, and they do finish him off. Beyond trying to get the hits there onto the Azir. Does get him in the end, but pays for it with his own life. And now with no smite, just the Vladimir, they would have to, they would get the Baron, but they're going straight into the base. Finish off that inhibitor yet again. KT just shy of 60 minutes. I don't think we're quite going to break the record here, Papa Smithy.
Yeah, Vladimir Waveplay is going to at least buy time, but you're right, the game should end here. KT finally do it after Pawn was the biggest man in 2 fights in a row. He knew his role, maximize his damage, get into the backline. He does it. Game ends at 59-54, and KT Rolster were made to expend so much blood, sweat, and tears just to get over the line. They do it, but what a game.
Absolutely insane. 59-54, previous record. So close to that one right there. An insane game, Papa Smithy. But with the telecom war on the horizon, this is certainly not the form that KT wanted to find themselves in. And apparently we did just beat the record by 2 seconds, which was told by Joel. Always hard to tell when we get the cutaway there on the final screen. So we have beaten it for 2017.
KT's new head coach will have to do some work because at the end of the day, I don't think we will see a game like this in the Telecom War. We will not see KT draft into such a split push focused team comp. It'll probably be more standard. But when they were taken out of their comfort zone, when they drafted full into 5v5 and was spent 55 minutes craving a fight, KT didn't have a lot of options. Not often in the late game do you have these sort of scenarios happen. They didn't necessarily cover themselves in glory. Smem made a lot of mistakes in the first 30 minutes when it came to positioning. They get over the line, but you kind of have to leave this one at one side. Use your next 4 days to really train some of the bigger mistakes, because to me, the last 30 minutes of this game aren't the sort of thing you VOD review if you're KT for the next series. You VOD review all the mistakes in positioning in the early game where they could have really stuck the landing instead of letting the game extend. Because by the time we got to here, there were so many fights, and to me, Pawn was the really big star. He needed to get in there. So many Azirs can play passively. You think of Azir Kog'Maw as a duo, and you say, yeah, Azir stands next to Kog'Maw, pushes people away, and Kog'Maw will kill everyone. Kog'Maw could never get near anyone. Pawn had to be Superman. He was to end this game, and KT just about do it.
Right, the moment when they needed him. He finally shows up with that massive Emperor's Divide. Final pick there from Smep, of course, helping out.
And this is guaranteed kills. He accepted that he was going to die here, but it's an acceptable loss when his death